Could money be coming back to you in the form of a refund? That's the question a lot of people have been asking in recent days. Some are whispering about trillion-dollar refunds, others about lawsuits, and the truth lies somewhere in between. The short version: the Supreme Court is about to decide the future of Trump's tariffs, and the outcome could unleash a wave of refunds unlike anything we've seen before. Here's the background. When Donald Trump announced sweeping reciprocal tariffs, the federal government began raking in staggering amounts of money. By late August, U.S. Customs and Border Protection had already collected over $200 billion in tariff revenue. Since then, the total has kept climbing. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessant has now warned that if the Supreme Court agrees with lower courts that some of these tariffs were imposed illegally, the refund bill could top $750 billion, possibly even $1 trillion. That kind of number is eye-popping. To put it into perspective, that's more than the U.S. spends in an entire year on Social Security disability benefits. But while the idea of $1 trillion refund sounds exciting, the process of getting money back is messy, complicated, and uncertain. One of the biggest points of confusion is who actually paid these tariffs. The importer of record is the one responsible for paying duties. In some cases, that's the big shipping companies like UPS, FedEx, or DHL. But it can also be small businesses and even individuals. If you've ever had a package held up by customs and received a bill for import taxes, you were effectively the importer. That means, in theory, you could be eligible for a refund if the tariffs are struck down. But it won't be simple. Refunds aren't likely to just show up in your mailbox. Most experts believe claimants would have to file petitions or even lawsuits proving they paid the tariffs. Without solid proof, no refund. That's one reason some say the fairest and easiest path would be to send out broad rebate checks to the public, similar to stimulus payments. The logic is simple. Put the money back into people's hands and they'll spend it, fueling the economy. The downside? Inflation. Pumping $1 trillion into consumer spending could heat up prices all over again. On the other hand, if the refunds go directly to importers, it's unlikely that consumers will see any real benefit. Businesses may simply pocket the money, using it to strengthen balance sheets rather than lower prices. This tension between fairness, simplicity, and economic risk is at the heart of the Supreme Court debate. Trump's legal team is urging the court to fast-track the case, arguing that delays only make the problem worse. Every extra month of tariff collection means more money that could eventually need to be unwound. And the administration has already been counting on tariff revenue to help with the deficit. Losing that revenue stream would create new pressure to find money elsewhere, possibly through tax hikes that hit everyone, not just the wealthy. So what happens if the court rules against Trump's tariffs? That's where things get murky. Will refunds automatically go to businesses? Will individuals have to prove their claims? Could Washington turn it into a broader stimulus check program? No one knows for sure. What is clear is that unwinding years of tariff collections would be one of the most complicated financial operations in U.S. history. Critics argue that this very uncertainty might push the Supreme Court to uphold the tariffs, even if legal questions linger. Striking them down could open a Pandora's box with no easy way to fairly distribute refunds. Supporters counter that the rule of law matters more than financial convenience, and that illegally collected money has to be returned, no matter how messy. For now, the situation hangs in limbo. The administration is appealing, businesses are watching nervously, and everyday Americans are left wondering, if I paid a customs bill on that package last year, could I really be owed some of this $1 trillion pot? The answer may come soon, but one thing is certain: it won't be straightforward.